Hello, everyone. You are watching the Jane the Virgin After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your girl, Stephanie Giorgi, and tonight we will be discussing Chapter 60. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey. So there's a lot of this going on in the episode today, but what's up, everybody? Hello, AfterBuzzers. It's your girl, Stephanie Giorgi. You are watching the Jane the Virgin After Show. You can follow me on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi. But before you do that, go ahead and subscribe to our page below. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud. Rate us, give us comments, let us know what you think so that we can bring you more. Tonight I'll be hosting with just two other girls because my girl Natalie isn't here with us. However, we do have Francesca and Sally. And where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at XOXOCESCA.
The two F's are holding it down on this side of the room. Franceli Chapman's in the building. You can hang out with me at all things at Sally Hangouts.
Hey. So tonight was a very good episode. We saw Jane in a bit of a different light, and I was so happy about it. I got my freaks over here right now.
Hey, look,
They're
this
the ones that
episode.
feel so horny,
No. Let's get it right.
Literally.
Look, everybody in this episode was turned up, so now we turned up, okay? Okay.
That's fine.
Listen, we've been gone for a while. We've been gone for like 3 weeks.
We were gone.
Cut me some slack.
But like all good friendships, as we have with all of us, our viewers.
Yes.
We're gonna go right back where we left off.
Yeah, we back in it.
So there's a couple of things that go on during this episode. Nothing crazy, but definitely something to talk about, which is what we like, because we like to talk, right?
Not us. Not at all.
Right?
No, I hate talking.
But to go off of what we just started in regards to that song, We So Horny, the horniest one on this episode, surprisingly enough, was
Alba.
La Señora Alba.
Ay, Dios
La
mío.
Señora Alba
¡Qué
Villanueva.
escándalo!
¡Qué escándalo! La señora se habló de mucho hoy.
Oh.
So, La Señora Alba, Abuelita Alba, she has found herself in a predicament.
Right.
Being her age, which I'm going to make a comment, and Sally's going to rebuttal because we planned this because we already had the discussion.
Not even planned it. It's because in real life...
It happened, and I was like, I'm going to need you to say the same thing again.
Say it again.
So today, Alba expresses herself to Jorge, saying that, I actually don't believe in sex before marriage, coming from a woman who's widowed, but of course, traditionally Latina, older, all of that falls in that category.
You can be younger and have those views too.
You can be. Once she made that comment, I replied saying, "Ooh, but really? Like, are you still trying to wait for marriage when you're at that age? Because isn't life short?" And then Sally said something I like.
I said, yeah, life is short, which means you know when you know, right? So if you know when you know, stop wasting time, stop playing games, and put that ring on it. And then you don't have to necessarily wait. Hey, hold on. I'm not saying just put a ring on it so you don't have to wait.
Right.
Don't do that. But this is my thing. I think a lot of times people know and they get in their own way. We make excuses, we're not ready, or this or that, or we find a reason, but you know when you know that this person would make you happy for the rest of your life. And that's why sometimes people miss out on their person because that window of opportunity leaves. You meet people at a certain time in a certain window. And this is the thing, it's not just people, it's career, it's whatever. God gives you this amount of time. And if you don't take advantage of when he has it, gotta go give it to someone else who's ready to snatch it up.
That's why preparation is key in life.
Yeah.
Be prepared
Always
for
be
anything.
ready.
Always be ready because when the opportunity presents itself, you don't want to miss out.
That's right.
So this is what I'm saying.
Shout out to Harry Connick Jr., by the way, because I interviewed him once and I was like, if you couldn't give us a message, he said, preparation. Be prepared for anything in your life because when you're prepared, that opportunity will come along. And I was like, oh, sir, thank you.
And that's the thing, because he's older. That's why I'm not giving no man no slack, especially old man. Like, you an old man. Like, you meet this beautiful woman that has values that you're attracted to. You guys have this chemistry. What's the problem? You like, but we find out later that there isn't, because when you set a standard, the right man will rise to it.
That's true. A good friend of mine always used to say that, because we would say to her like, "Oh, but Bex." Oops. Shout out.
Hey,
shout out.
Put her on blast.
Put her on blast, but on a for a good reason. Meaning, she would always say no, because my father raised me like a princess, and I'm not uppity like a princess, but I do demand a certain standard. I do want a specific thing. Yes, open my door when we're going to the car.
Yes.
Come on.
And she was like, but you know what? I know it sounds ridiculous, but just hold on to it, and keep to that mindset, because it will come by. Which I have to say does. And a perfect example, which I said at the end of this episode, was Fabian. Fabian in this episode, he is Rogelio's like co-star. And, you know, everything is going through our heads, his abs, his looks, this and that, blah, blah. But you forget, if you just stick to what you want, had she not been herself for like a moment, and then she found out that he was about that, it would have hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like when you try to change yourself is when you see that the other person would have liked who you were. But then all of a sudden you look fake because you were trying to change yourself. Anyways, so my point is that moving on from Alba, we have Jane going through all of this situation with her book, with her fling / crush / I don't know how I'm feeling right now, and with everything else in her life. Sorry, I'm looking at my little notes that I have on the board here. But yeah, so what did you think about Jane? What did you think about Fabian? What was your initial thought?
I thought he might be into Rogelio, yeah. But once
I was like, does he play on the right side of the team for her to be watching him?
right? But I think
Excuse me.
Bless
you.
Thank you.
After a while, I could tell that he seemed to be like a really good person, and he's just like caught up in his looks and caught up in like the glitz and the glamour.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yeah, throughout the episode, I just knew it was kind of gonna go that direction, and I'm kind of happy it did, because it made, like we said, like we see at the end where she's walking over to him and she does a little skip in the step. Like I want to see Jane happy again, and all you guys out there who hated on us for loving Jane with Raphael, like I'm excited for Fabian, like.
Because it was
Rafu?
all a matter of what we saw. It
Rafu?
really was.
But this is my thing.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Why was I stuck on Raph before? But with this little bit of Fabian, I'm like, yes, please.
This is my thing.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, y'all.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not as excited, only because I'm happy for her. Like, I'm excited that she's excited. I'm not necessarily excited about him. Like, I don't really see future with him. I don't see, like, he's not Michael, and not that he has to be, right? But when you think of being equally yoked, compatibility, you know, like, he's a nice guy, he's a good looking guy, he has really good intentions, but where she is in her ideals and how she thinks, although we find out later that he has some similar morals and views, at the same time, though, I mean, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but
that's what you're doing.
I don't, that's why I'm saying I'm on the fence. I don't know enough about him yet to feel like this could really be something long lasting for her.
I don't even think necessarily this could be like her forever, next forever person,
Right.
But it's just nice to see.
This is something nice to
Yeah.
be reopened. This is something nice to put your guard finally down a little bit, to introduce you to the excitement, the feeling.
Well, this is my thing. I was excited at first when the idea of it just being a fling, right? When it was like, oh, it's gonna be casual, but then when he dropped the bomb on us at the end, I was
That's
like,
in a preview for next season.
well,
Next
for
episode.
the next episode. So when that bomb was dropped, I was like, oh, well, then this needs to be a courtship in a particular way, because when someone has those kind of standards, I feel like it's unfair to play with their feelings. So if you don't see a future with someone who's waiting, then you shouldn't date them.
Well,
true.
but I think that she knows that. But the reason why I like it is because I love the whole, and only because I've experienced this always.
Right.
Every time, you can't judge a book by its cover, because every time in my life where, like, let's say I'm introduced into a new group and introduced to a new society, it's always the person that I like the least coming into something new. that ends up being like
really good friends with you.
good friends with me, becomes like a homie, becomes somebody that I can like really level with and understands me. That's a cool person to me. And so what I liked about Fabian is that we're looking at him like, Papi, who are you? Nothing but abs, the way you said it with your Kardashian book. Or, excuse me, sorry, I said it that lookbook.
Oh.
Inside joke. Okay. So, but like I'm saying, but you see these books and everything else, and so I liked it. But the thing is that I thought it was brilliant. Kudos to the writers, as I always like to say to all of you. The scene where she's at the book fair and that he is from behind, meaning we're always going to show a certain side of ourselves when somebody's watching, right?
Right.
It's what you're showing when they're not looking, right? So no one's looking at the time, and she was just expressing herself, and he said, once I heard you speak, once I heard your words. And to be honest, for a man, and everyone could argue with me on this, that's fine, enlighten me, prove me wrong, because I love that. But for a man to wait for marriage, you already know his standard is somewhere else, meaning he doesn't have to show anything because it doesn't matter, and obviously he's really looking for something more.
For substance, for sure.
So he waited.
He's
and
looking
he
for
heard
a
these
life
things,
partner.
and he said that, and she's expressed herself beautifully. And she's married. He knows that she's had sex before, and that's fine with him. Mm-hmm. But I loved that. That was so beautiful, because now when we see that next episode, either Jane can choose to say no because, you know what, I'm not there anymore, and that's fine. Because guess what? That's what happens. Or she'll say, damn, you know what? I'm still enjoying your company and I want to be around you still. And that's all I can promise you for now. But that's it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just thought that was great. I'm a huge fan of Fabian right now. Just from this episode.
Hashtag Team Fabian.
Team Fabian, yeah.
Or Telemundo and Chill.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Telemundo and Chill.
I was
so
dying.
good.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
That was the best hashtag
That was a great moment.
in a long time.
It was a great moment.
Real quick to address the chat roll, we really don't get a lot of viewers at this time of night. We do know that. However, because we're fans of the show, we're going to talk about it like we got all the viewers.
Right. And
at
people
this
watch
time.
us tomorrow.
Exactly, because that's what's online. Who has time to watch anything live? That's okay. We're not mad at you. Watch us tomorrow. Watch us next week. Watch
Listen
us
to
next
us while you
month.
run and work out at the
Right.
gym in the morning.
Because the fact of the matter is, I am a fan of this show, and all of the hosts of AfterBuzz TV, the way this network originated was that we are super fans.
Super fans.
So we talk about what we love. Moving on.
No, but thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks
hanging
for
out with
being.
us.
It's super late. We're
So
some
we
of y'all
appreciate
out, so
you.
thank
Shout
you.
out to Renji.
Chelsum 90 and Renji.
And Renji, it's 2:30 in the morning where
90998.
Renji is.
Right.
And he's up.
Good looking
hanging
out.
out with us.
But yeah, so then let's talk book fair. Let's talk Jane. Jane has this book fair, and she even gets emotional when she has to call Jeremy and say, fine, let's let the marketing team do what they want. Does she sell out?
No, I don't think so. And I think, but I mean, writers are on a different scale than, say, a celebrity like Rogelio, or in real
Right.
life, any celebrity. You're going to have to be really vulnerable if you're going to be in the public eye. And a lot of people, especially like in our society where we have Twitter and Instagram, we want to see the real you. We want to try to understand you. Like, we watch the Kardashians, right? Mm-hmm. And because we want to see what their lives are like, even though it's still, you know, you know what I mean? Like, we still want to get involved. So, like, if I saw a book from someone and I didn't really, like, I check it out, whatever. But then if I heard, like an article, like, this person actually went through all this, that, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, this is going to be
coming
different.
from heart.
Yeah.
Well, I think writers and actors are different, and it's a catch-22 because they have a double-edged commentary to that. Like, there used to be a time where you'd be a super fan of the show and of an actor, and the only questions and things people really asked about was like the show, the character, like what's gonna happen next, you know? And yeah, you'd find out like what their favorite food was, but there wasn't this obsession with knowing every single thing about your life. Mm-hmm. And now people having to be overexposed, I don't agree with.
Yeah, I don't agree with
it's
that.
It's now in people's contract that they have to tweet. They have, like when they get on a famous show, you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna leave that there for a second. But for a writer, it's very different. Like, you're telling a story that's based on your life. What's gonna make you more relatable and what's going to touch people is your testimony and what you've been through. And this isn't about selling out or selling herself. I think it's about really inspiring people that the trauma that she went through and how she came on the other side. I think if she takes a moment to understand that everything she's gone through has been it didn't happen to her, it happened for her, and it happened for her greater good and her purpose, and it's gonna help generations of young women, single mothers, Latinas, like, you waited till marriage and then all these like horrible catastrophic things happen to you, but you still like are on the other side of all of this. You're successful, you're happy, you're a great mom. Like, she's just a testament and an example that good things happen to, bad things happen to good people, but good people still win at the end, you know? And that's what I think is important about that.
Well, to keep going on that social media stuff, it kind of made me mad because this is real life as well. How Jeremy, the publisher, is like, well, unless you have like 2 point whatever K or 1,000 followers, you're not going to get the traction. And it really sucks.
I underlined that so that we could talk about it.
Yes, because I know a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, like, especially out here in LA, you know, actors, they're not going to look at you because they want for like commercial stuff. I know people are like, oh, I don't have this many followers, they went with this person. Or because of that, there's other people who are getting sold short, if you know what I'm saying, because of that. Because they'll just be like, oh, do this to cheap to someone who's not like a celebrity, and then they'll do it and they don't need, you know, someone else. And it's so this whole thing wrapped around how many people are following you, who knows you, what can you benefit.
Because it's confirmation of what's following. It's confirmation of who is watching you. It's confirmation of an audience.
So I'm not looking at you anymore and also and your talents. I'm looking at what numbers can you provide me, and that really makes me mad because that really sucks because there's a lot of really good artists
talented
out there.
people.
That's true.
In all forms, and just because you don't, you know.
But it is show business. It's a business. Same thing with these
for example,
books.
I'm following 589 people on Twitter, and I think I actually follow and keep, like, it was just to follow, but only like maybe 15 of them is like who I even try to tweet to or like pay attention to or even see on my feed. Like, it's just so funny. And people buy followers too.
I know,
and everything,
you
so it's really weird.
You can't look at it. And now you can't even really judge people by their engagement because now people have people on their accounts just like liking and like commenting on things that's like not even real anymore. I'll get on like a random picture from like 10 weeks ago or something like, love your content, it's great. And I'm like, okay, I know this was a spam comment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why?
Right.
Why is this happening? But anyways, but that really sucked because for a second I was like, dang, Jane's gonna lose out on something just because of some stupid social media thing, and that's not her.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I was happy that Tuesdays with Marlene existed.
Yes.
Really cute hashtag reference to Tuesday with Maurice. And how she said, look, I used to be you with all that integrity and all of that. And she opens that door. She's like, but this is what happens. It is what it is. And it comes down to people wanting to connect with you. The reason why the Beatles and, you know, Motown and like all of these greats were so big was because all we knew of them was what was on the radio. But all anyone was desperate to do was see them in real life. God, what does their face look like? Their eyes, their nose, their lips. Like, you just want to know about them. And so that is what's fortunate about this day and age, is that we get to be closer to those who appreciate us, who like us and everything else. And she had that moment, meaning she didn't realize that during that book fair, she was answering questions that she thought were going to be too much, but she answered them beautifully. Mm-hmm. We still got to know. And you forget that you don't have to say everything.
Right.
And she is a woman of words. She knows how to use her words wisely.
Right.
So it was really nice that she just has to learn that she can do it, and that whatever, should there be a question, she could be like, let me see how I can go around it, or I choose not to answer specifically that, but I will tell you this part of it, you know?
But it's also having the right team around you. She
That's
has
true.
a great team around her, and he's put in place, you know, not just a marketing team, but there's a publicist, and your PR helps you with these interviews, and you guys go through coaching sessions. Like, there's a lot of things that people don't know that happen behind the scenes, and so she was prepped for that interview, you know, and she passed with flying colors.
What do you guys think of Jeremy?
I like Jeremy.
We know what you think.
Right.
I'm digging Jeremy.
You crushing on him or not?
I'm not crushing on him. I'm crushing on them.
Workmanship?
The workmanship, meaning I like that I think for every relationship that happens, it's always better when the initial thing wasn't just the attraction. So when they both got into it, it was about work, right? And now they're just spending more time with each other.
So you're thinking there might eventually be a part
I think
with
that
Jeremy?
Only out of respect, though. Meaning, Jeremy was someone that we judged by his cover so quick with his sports paraphernalia, the way that he was, this and that, blah, blah. But then it's like little by little, look, we hear his brilliance. We hear his like where he comes from, that he loves books, that he loves words, that he's trying to talk to her. The same thing with Jane.
But that's what I'm trying to say about the difference between like who I envision Jane to be with and how Fabian doesn't necessarily fit what's compatible for her.
Right.
The way you're describing Jeremy, that describes the type of man that Jane would want to be with.
Right. Understood, but again, Jeremy comes from the writing part.
Right.
It's a different
They
type
have
of
something
exposure.
in common.
Fabian is somebody who looked up to Rogelio and who's in part of Telemundo.
Has his little selfie book.
Y como Latinos.
Hey, he's an author too.
Right. He's an author. All
Pero
right.
como los Latinos, like Latinos are, we expose ourselves very differently.
Right.
We are very materialistic. We're very physical people. Like, it's superficial, if you will. And that's the thing, though, but we don't know. Fabian could have a very different upbringing. He could have the very different morals. Like, you know, again, just book by its cover. How I just really like that it's like, damn, who could she be into right now? Because she has these options. And it's refreshing that it's not Michael and Raph.
Well, right, it's something... Well, it's not refreshing that it's not Michael because it's sad, but yes.
Right,
right.
But I think it was interesting you say that he looked up to Rogelio because subconsciously they say that you are attracted to
people who
remind
fathers.
you of your parents. So it's like, well, this makes sense. Like, he's just like her dad, you know, and so.
But that's true because oftentimes...
Or he's...
It's
like
funny that you said that because I started reading a book recently when it says when your past meets your future or something like that, and it speaks about when we meet people, oftentimes what we do is we look for someone who can fill in that spot that you're missing from growing up. Meaning whatever your parents were like, you just want that too. You train that person to be that for you because that's what you like and that's what you're missing and that's what you want. So that is a possibility unless you're someone who can talk about what you've been through, like Jane is kind of going through, that you can be present in the moment and just see that person for them rather than that person that they remind you of. So I think that's what Jeremy and Fabian does have. Jeremy is what is and Fabian is what's familiar. But we'll see. I don't know. And I'm so happy the way that they keep bringing Michael back into play. Can we talk about Rogelio tonight?
That was
Finally,
like,
we weren't sure.
I've been
moments.
asking, when are we gonna see how Rogelio felt? How was he traumatized? This was his best friend.
It was.
So praise
but we
the
really
Lord
heard it tonight
that
too.
we got to see that tonight.
I want to shout out to someone on Twitter. Hold on. It was, I believe, Animo88. Jessica, she tweeted us before the show and she's like, I lost it and Jane the Virgin made me cry tonight. Rogelio brought the tears for real.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Me too.
What is she talking about? And I'm like, should I bring tissues? And she's like, no, I'm probably just being like, or whatever. And then when that moment happened where he's sitting there with Zoe and saying how much he missed Michael, and that's why he didn't want to do the mani-pedis with Fabian because that was his time. I was like,
he's like, I missed him. He really was my best friend. And that was his son-in-law, you know?
Yeah.
Someone that accepted him in a time of where he just met Jane. This was the person the man closest to Jane.
Right.
And so, I mean, I could only understand. Real quick, shout out to Jazz 41173. Not for the loved comment, but I believe you made a comment right before that about how Fabian's going to distract us and then we're going to see something happen between Jane and Jeremy. Because
he said he doesn't think that Jane and Jeremy are gonna happen. I think that's what I read.
Oh, I thought I read, it doesn't matter. Whatever I read, I think I agreed with it. Somebody's about to pull it up. Yeah, right here. So will Fabian be a couple of episodes, then swerve Jeremy and Jeremy and Jane find themselves attracted to each other. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think that'll happen as well. Thanks, Boo.
Oh, it was Renji who said, I don't think Jane and Jeremy will happen.
Oh, okay.
See, I knew I read
Shout
that.
out to both of you guys. Yeah, but that's crazy. And Rogelio, it's so nice. And I'm so happy that we're not having to deal with Zoe and Bruce.
oh, I know.
Because
that's over.
yes, because you know what? We only
She's
want
like, okay, thank you.
yeah, Xiomara and Rogelio are everything. We only want them, especially in the moment when Jane comes to see Fabian, but it's like Xiomara's there.
Yeah.
And Xiomara doesn't need anything else but her baby daddy.
Right. And she's like, thanks for telling me, boo. Like,
she did.
Thanks for being vulnerable with me.
Yes.
You don't gotta
She's
always
like,
be
love
a
you
man's
so
man.
much. Yeah,
and you
I'm
know
here for
what?
that.
I really appreciate that too. Like, yeah, Rogelio's dramatic and telenovela and always emotional, right? And it's
But we know it's real.
And it's over the top, right? And some people be like, whatever. But
Hey, Billie Jean.
But if we toned it down for real life, like a woman who doesn't appreciate a man who's vulnerable, she got her own issues. Mm-hmm. No disrespect, but I just have to say that because society just keeps playing this thing where a man gotta be hard, and that's not necessarily true. Like, men are just as complicated as women are. We're human beings. We all have our own complexities and its own idiosyncrasies. But at the same time, it's like we both hurt. Right. And we both have things that we need to let out. And men tend to need to suppress it, and they don't have to.
They really
when
don't.
you find the right person, like you said, that you can be yourself with. And Raph and Ro have this special thing where they can undoubtedly be naked.
Right.
Like, it's like,
Right.
you can see all of me.
Absolutely.
And no one's judging anyone. I love their relationship.
Ditto.
And,
I think it falls under the way people say, express yourself, express yourself,
Right.
express yourself. As much as we should, there's always an appropriate time
Right.
to express yourself.
there's a time and a place.
I can't cry about some ish I've been through
Right.
a couple months ago on this show
Right.
just because we're talking about it. However, there is a time and a place, and when you can find that person, that's when it's wonderful.
Right.
That's when it counts. So I agree with you too, and it was really nice to see that because we're seeing all these different aspects. Speaking about who you can open to, let's talk about Petra real quick because Petra has found that person in Chuck.
Yes.
As much as we love Petra and Raph, and I do. Ooh, I would be happy if Raph ended up with Jane or Petra. At this point, either of them I'm happy with. I'm okay.
Ooh.
I am.
Surprise.
I want to know why? Because just like life, we have to move on.
Right.
We
Things change.
But I like that because Chuck is he's real, man.
But
that's
look
a
at
real
Chuck
brother.
With the kids, the critters.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's funny and everything else, and he's just cool because he gets Petra, and I like that. Like, she's a messed up person, and we've always known that, but she needed somebody like, look, I'm gonna check you. Don't disrespect me. Put you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's not vindictive the
Right.
way that Raph might be. You know what I'm saying? So that's what she found an interest in Raph because it was familiar, but she needs to find somebody who can respectively put her in her place.
Right. Listen, I'm going to tell you, people, women or men, people treat you as far as you allow them.
Exactly.
And sometimes women can
That's
get out of...
that's what I just said before the show. I'm like, a man will do as much as a woman will let him.
Right. And sometimes a woman could get a little out of pocket. She needs to be told to sit down and shut up sometimes. Listen, I'm going to keep it real. Women, we get emotional. We get a little crazy. Don't put your hands on me, though. Because
Right.
I got 5 brothers that'll come after you. But listen, you might have to tell me to sit down because I
Right.
might get a little...
But you see, like how you're saying that, I'm the type of person where I'm very extroverted, and I would respect someone, let's say, because I express myself and I'm mad, I'm gonna yell this, and that. Let's say this person that I'm with is mad, and he chooses to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna engage in anything right now. I'm gonna be quiet because I'm hurt.
Right.
And I see that, and it's the opposite of what I do. This is when all of us should take time to reflect upon ourselves.
Right.
To be like, oh man, and that hurts though.
Yeah.
Meaning I don't have to project. I can just listen. I can just be quiet. But that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes an opposite is good because it puts you in your place in a very specific way. And there's ways to do that leading by influence.
Right.
And that's all. So that's what I really like about that.
Do you think that he's going to find out about Petra and Raph?
He knows about them sleeping together once.
Yeah.
I think he will, but if he does,
If he does, it'll be donezo, though.
It's kind of weird though because Petra looked happy when Chuck said, "Can we talk about how he still
has feelings for you?" And that's my thing. I'm like, if I honestly, after everything Petra's already put him through, if he finds out that this went down, I think Chuck is done for good.
But it wasn't while they were talking again.
It was while they were broken up, but it doesn't matter. Like, a man's ego, like, I think Chuck, that'll be the last straw for him.
Because it's what does your mom say, Franceli?
It's better to...
No, donde hay fuego, donde hay qué?
Oh, wherever there was fire, there's ashes. So, like, those ashes can always, like a phoenix,
Like
it
a
can
phoenix.
always come back up. So it's like there's ashes still left from the fire that was between Raph and Petra.
Right. I mean, we'll see. That could possibly happen. But now that we've been talking about it extensively, there is a theme in people being influenced by impression, you know, like just by being around. Rose and Luisa are very complicated.
Elaine.
Elaine.
She's
But-
really Elaine.
The more Luisa's with Rose, I feel like the more she feels confident in herself because she's not dying to be with her again.
Yeah.
That it makes you be at ease. It makes you just be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rose subconsciously is getting put in her place. Mm-hmm. She's like, whew, she's a murderer, but she's trying to meet people now because she's just trying to be with Luisa. So
She's trying to be a normal person.
I almost see that happening between them. Of course, Rose can never get out of it because that's who she is. But there's a little bit of a try.
I'm so lost. I'm sorry.
She's trying to not be a criminal.
Yeah, I feel because
Rose?
Yeah. Maybe she's not trying.
Well,
but
I guess because they had that scene where they, like, she knew they were bugged and they went out on the balcony and she was like, I didn't do anything. You know, we were doing this, we were doing that. Remember this and this. So, I guess I can agree with
there's
that.
suspicion, but that's good because it'll always come with it. Like,
Right.
sorry, you made these decisions. You wanted to murder people and you murdered my daddy. Like, I'm
And
gonna
you
question
kidnapped
you.
my son.
Yeah.
Well, her brother's son.
Right, but so I'm gonna question that. So I
Yeah.
don't know. That's all there. Oof, emotions.
Wait. Never mind.
What?
I lost my train of thought.
¿Dónde fue?
You all right? You all right?
¿Dónde
dear?
hubo fuego cenizas?
Donde hubo fuego, cenizas quedan. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
donde
what my
hubo
mother
fuego,
says.
cenizas quedan.
Mira, Jazz. Shout out to you, okay? Shout out.
She's
wish
saying
I was like
shout
a
out
sound.
to you. I'm just kidding.
Shout out.
Translation.
Translation, she's saying
Mira,
shout out
muchas
to you.
gracias.
Donde hubo fuego, cenizas,
Cenizas quedan.
Eso sí. Bueno, latinos y americanos. Right. I don't know. There was just a lot.
There was a lot in this episode.
We learned that Elvis is just a private eye. He's not some shady person. So that was nice because a couple weeks ago, we were wondering, like, what's the deal with that?
You know, there's something I meant to say when we talked about Michael. Because at first, I'm not going to lie, like, when they did the recap, because we've been gone for 3 weeks.
You're like, why did they bring in Michael?
I'm
in the
like,
recap?
why they keep showing Michael dying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to keep reliving that moment. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but, like, I can't keep seeing him on the floor and dying. Like, I just don't want to keep going through that because this is my thing, you know? And Jane is struggling with it, but she's coming to a certain place. People, their physical dies, but I believe their spirit lives on through the people that knew them. So as long as people that knew them are alive, they're still alive in
That's
a particular way because I still get to talk about them and celebrate them and tell other people about them and pass it on so their life continues to live through us. So by her talking about him and honoring him through this book, it's the best thing that she could have ever done because this is how his legacy continues.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see his dying days. I want to see life and celebration. Like, come on, somebody. Like, what are we doing?
Boricuas represent!
All right, La Dominicanas represent too, but you know.
Hey, which is so funny that you wrote that in Spanish because right before we started,
We were having a conversation about how Puerto Ricans, unfortunately, you don't always speak Spanish.
yeah.
But shout outs to you who know
Shout
the
out to
Spanish.
I don't want to keep seeing Michael dying.
She from New York?
She's
Are you
probably
from
not.
New
She's
York?
probably from Puerto Rico.
Jazz, are you from New York? Because
Jazz, we need you to answer.
we need to
pronto,
know, like,
right now.
Right now, we need to know. Are you
O sea,
from New York?
ahora mismo, perdón.
Rápido.
Rápido. Anyways, but I do feel you on that, and I feel that that's what I was thinking while she was when she was doing the book fair, that she didn't need to talk about Michael, and it's so funny because that's what I have had when people die. Like, you can't help, like, because people have to move on.
Right.
But then I had a friend died recently, and I can't help to be like Neil Cadlick, like that he just passed, but I want to say his name because I'm like, whoa, he's gone, but remember, he was here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can feel her thinking that also she doesn't want to be like, ooh, I prospered from his death, but I need people to know his name.
Yeah, for sure.
I need people to know there was a Michael Cordero in this world, and he was everything.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
But I think there shouldn't be shame, like there shouldn't be that shame and that guilt. And unfortunately, but that comes with like success, right? Like sometimes we that's what fear of success is. It comes in different levels.
That's true.
And I think that's the fear of success, like that she's successful without him,
right?
That life is better without him. Like she has more money,
that life goes on.
Life has gone on without him.
Right.
To a certain degree, sometimes living and staying in that misery is more comfortable than stepping out on something that you're uncomfortable with.
And it also has to do with being loyal, man. You can't help but want to be loyal. Like I was ride or die for you.
He is from New York.
He is.
Oh, okay. He. Shout outs to you. Yes, Nueva York. And you speak Spanish, see?
Okay.
There are
like
Puerto
I said,
Ricans in New York
I like
that
to be
speak
proven
Spanish.
wrong. $100, you either born
I've been
your
trying to
parents
tell her
there.
that people in New York actually speak Spanish.
Pues eso me gusta oír. Espero que todo lo demás aprendan a hablar español porque eso es muy importante para los latinos.
Yes.
Don't be like me and be like Spanglish.
That's okay, you're Chicana.
Straight up Spanglish.
But you represent la raza here in California.
No, see, that's a whole nother debate we can get into off air.
Okay, we'll do that next week, y'all. Anyways, let's go into some predictions real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 to 100, real quick.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
Shout outs to our engineer that's from New York too.
Yeah.
New York in the house.
Latino.
You guys were in the chat. We were talking earlier about Tyler Posey from Teen Wolf is going to be on the show.
Oh.
So that he's going to be in the finale and he's going to continue on into the next season. So in his
I knew it in Texas now though. From Puerto in my
uh,
heart, I knew it real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, so not New York?
Not New York, but it's funny because if they're not in New York, they're in Texas.
No.
And my boy, all my Puerto Ricans in Texas, ellos
He's
se hablan
from
español.
New York originally.
No, he's from Puerto Rico. Y se movió a Texas, Texas.
Wait, okay, guys. Focus.
Keep going.
Okay, sorry.
So he's supposed to be someone from Jane's past.
Right.
So I feel like this is going to throw a little wrench into this
Who's the actor?
Tyler Posey.
Okay.
He's from Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all right.
I'll Google later.
Yeah, Google it. I'll be
Google
honest,
me,
I
baby.
didn't watch Teen Wolf. I don't watch Teen Wolf, so I had to Google as well. But yeah, so I think who knows? I just leaked. Who knows? We might have like 3 possible
Love
love interests. So that's part
it's
of
so nice
prediction
to
slash
see
news
her
gossip.
be like that, you know?
To be desired
To
and
be
wanted.
desired, but also to her to be like, oh, well, this is what it's like now when you have options.
Yeah. I think
she had them before, but
I
it's
think
different.
every woman deserves to feel like that. Like they have options, you know?
All right, y'all. Well,
My predictions?
Yes,
Do you want my
predictions, yeah.
predictions? Because you seem to not care.
Go ahead, I care.
You care? Thanks, girl.
go ahead. I did care. Sorry.
Distracted
about
over
yours?
here. Yes.
I was gonna go into our social media handles. Continue, please.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, my predictions. I think Jane and Fabiana are gonna fizzle out. I think Alba's gonna get married. I know I'm jumping the gun, but it's like she's waiting for premarital sex. He seems to be really supportive of it. He was like, look, I'm surprised. I'm not breaking up with you, though. Like, she just jumped the gun so quick. I think we say we want something, but then we don't have faith that it'll actually come to pass. Like, Alba keeps saying she wants someone that'll wait, but she doesn't have faith that it exists. So what's
Right.
the point of walking this walk if you don't have faith it'll come to pass? So I think,
Yeah, that's all part of everything.
yeah,
though.
that's part of the
It's
journey. It's part of the journey, for sure. I'm just saying, look, I'm guilty of it too, in Jesus' name.
Yes,
But,
there's a proverb. It says a little folding of the hands, a little slumber, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands. Like God's. Oh, we were at the same sermon that day.
Yeah.
That was that.
Same service.
Yeah. So the same thing. It's just like letting God do His thing and
Yeah,
just
let him
not
do
trying to
his
make it happen for yourself.
Exactly. So I'm like, look, Alba, just chill out. It exists. Look, even in your age, there's a man willing to wait. So I think Alba's getting married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most like finales always end in something big like that.
Right,
that's true.
Weddings and whatever. Really fast to what I was talking about Tyler Posey. Billie Jean was saying, didn't they say Jane had another first love that where they were keep member? So maybe this is the first love.
That's the first love.
Good
That'd be
idea,
super
Billie
cute.
Jean.
Somebody from high school, like her nerdy writer friend or something.
Hey, now.
He would have
That's a good
texted her,
prediction.
but didn't know how, huh?
I know, because he had a flip phone. Oh my God, my dad
That
I think
flip phone, like,
still has a flip phone.
Listen,
it's embarrassing.
Listen, on
Yeah,
my
Dad, come
Facebook,
on.
you know how Facebook has the whole like memories 8 years ago today,
yeah.
whatever. So somebody reposted me at a theater show from college, and I had a flip Nextel, son. Like,
Yeah,
it was
wow!
I had a flip with the flip.
Girl,
Oh, man.
I had a Nextel but in 7th grade, and it was a thick one, the first one. And all the only homies I had it, all lived in Mexico because I'm from San Diego, but they were in Mexico.
And
So we had a
such a
walkie-talkie each
Mexican-
other. Yes.
Oh man,
Oh
it's
my
been
gosh.
real.
Ours, it has been real.
It's been real. Thanks, guys. I know
Thank
you
you
missed us. We
guys.
missed you.
Shout out to our boy in the booth. Hey, give us your name and your Twitter handle as well. What?
You have like a music.
Now
I mean,
you know.
not music. You
He
have
has
like a
an
movie
announcer's
voice.
He
Yeah.
does.
does.
Announcer's voice. He'd be perfect for sports anchor.
That's true. All right,
Yeah.
ladies, where can we find you?
Well, you know, Franceli Chapman aquí, la morena que tiene tumbao from the Bronx. Hang out with me at all things at Sully Hangout. I'm also on the AfterBuzz show Underground on Wednesday nights.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, XOXOCESCA.
Hey. Yo no lo tengo muy tambao, pero, you know. I'm just kidding. And I'm your girl, Stephanie Giorgi. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Come and join us next week. Let's continue the discussion, and feel free to continue any type of discussion after the show is over on our comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our page and talk to your friends about it, because sometimes it's just a good conversation. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi and on Instagram at the Stephanie Giorgi, and here for the Jane the Virgin After Show next week.
Bye, y'all.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.